Everything is about to collapse. Emmett's family, his future, his fight for pizza, it's all slipping away. And now, Reg is arrested. Yes, Reg, the man at the center of so many power moves, betrayals, and bloodshed finally behind bars. But this isn't a win. No one's safe, not Emmett, not Kesha, not even Jada. What looks like justice might just be the beginning of the end. Because Reg being arrested isn't the finale, it's the spark. Episode 10 of the Chi Season 7 is about to explode, and what's coming next could change everything. So let's talk about what really happened in Episode 9, and what we know is coming in Episode 10. Episode 9 was painful, not just because of what happened to Emmett or Reg, but because everything we've watched fall apart over the season is finally catching fire. Emmett was already walking a tightrope. Between Kesha pulling away, Jada's cancer returning, and Reg pushing him deeper into chaos, he's been slowly unraveling. But Episode 9 showed us what real collapse looks like. The hospital scenes weren't just about Emmett recovering. They were about everyone realizing just how close they all are to losing everything. Jada's face when she told Emmett the cancer came back. That moment was like a dagger. And Emmett, he wasn't ready. Not for that, not for the fear of losing the one person who always held him up. And then came the proposal. A desperate, beautiful moment. Emmett asking Kesha to marry him wasn't about romance, it was about control. It was about clinging to something real when everything else feels like a dream slipping away. And let's be honest, we all saw that moment coming. Kesha's been waiting for it, even if she wouldn't admit it. But what's heartbreaking is that Emmett's not doing it for the right reasons. He's doing it because he's scared, because he knows Reg is pulling him back into a world he barely escaped. And now that Reg is arrested, that fear, it's only going to get worse. Because let's talk about Reg for a second. That man has burned almost every bridge left in the South Side. Vic and Jake are done with him. Alicia is hunting him. Hannibal wants him gone. And even his own allies are starting to back away. But somehow, Reg still thought he was untouchable. Episode 9 cracked that illusion. The moment he got caught, everything shifted. It wasn't just a plot twist, it was the warning bell. Reg's arrest might look like justice, but it's chaos. In disguise, Alicia's not going to stop. She still thinks Reg killed her son Rob. And let's be honest, she's not wrong to want blood. But what happens when a woman like Alicia, who has connections, money, and a personal vendetta doesn't get what she wants? She changes the rules. She plays dirtier. She burns everything down. And that's what Episode 10 is setting up for. Emmett thought Reg being out of the picture might bring him peace. But instead, it might be the thing that finally destroys what's left of his life. Because Emmett's not just dealing with family drama anymore. He's at the center of a war, a real one. Between the streets and the law, between revenge and survival, and the weight of it is starting to show. Kesha wants a husband who can be present, stable, protective. But Emmett's barely holding on. He's haunted by what Reg dragged him into. He's terrified of losing his mom. And part of him still wants to fight back, still wants revenge. The question now is, what will he do next? Will he become the man Kesha needs, or the man Reg tried to turn him into? Will he walk away from the war or step deeper into it? And what happens if Jada doesn't make it? That's a thought nobody wants to face, but it's real. And Emmett knows it, which means every move he makes now isn't just about survival, it's about legacy, about what kind of man he's going to be when this storm finally ends. And while all of this is happening, Alicia is quietly building something terrifying. She's playing everyone Detective Tucson, the judge, maybe even Hannibal. Episode 10's trailer shows her sitting down with Tucson, and that's not just a throwaway scene, that's strategy. Alicia's planning something bigger than revenge. She's organizing, calculating, getting ready to do whatever it takes to make sure Reg never breathes free air again. But the scary part is she doesn't just want Reg gone. She wants to clean the streets. Her way, no rules, no limits. And if Emmett or Vic or even Nuck get in her way, they're just collateral damage. That's what makes Alicia the most dangerous person in this game. She doesn't just fight with guns, she fights with power. And speaking of Nuck, the hell is going on with him and Tiff? That moment in the trailer where he touches her belly and Vic sees it, that's betrayal. Straight up. Tiff's always been complicated. But this is war. And Vic, he's not going to just walk away. He may have stayed calm in the moment, but you can bet that man is plotting. And if Episode 10 takes things where we think it will, the fallout from this triangle might be just as explosive as Reg's arrest. Reg's arrest might have looked like the end of a reign, but it's not justice, it's bait. Because the streets aren't celebrating. They're watching. And when a man like Reg goes down, it doesn't end with handcuffs. It starts a chain reaction. People who owed him, people who feared him, people who protected him, they're all exposed now. And those who hated him, they see a chance to rise. Reg going behind bars doesn't mean peace. It means war. And in episode 10, we're going to see just how deep the damage goes. Keith, who's been loyal to Reg through everything, now stands alone. And that loyalty, it's about to be tested. In the trailer, we saw him and Reg robbing a place together. But when the cops show up, who do you think Reg's going to throw under the bus this time? Keith's already paid for his crimes once. He went down alone while Reg stayed clean. If history repeats itself, Keith might finally snap. And if he does, Reg isn't safe inside that jail either, because betrayal inside those walls, it's deadly. Meanwhile, Emmett's stuck in the middle. Again, always caught between love and loyalty, between survival and justice. The moment he finds out Reg is arrested, a wave of relief might wash over him. But it won't last, because what Reg knows, what he's done can still drag Emmett down. He's seen too much, he's helped too much. And if Reg starts talking to save himself, Emmett could get burned. That's the twisted part. Even locked up, Reg still has power, still has control. And Emmett's worst nightmare, becoming just like him. In episode 10, we might see Emmett face the truth. He's been running from all season. He can't fix this. He can't play both sides. He either walks away for good or he goes down with the ship. And right now, with Jada getting sicker and Kesha losing faith in him, that decision can't wait. And then there's Alicia. Cold, calculated, dangerous. Her meeting with Detective Toussaint wasn't just a scene, it was a power play. She's building leverage, lining up pieces, and let's not forget, already got the judge on her side. So what's she really asking Toussaint to do? Some believe she wants Reggie dead. Others say she's after everyone connected to Rob's murder. But here's the twist, what? If Alicia's building something bigger than revenge, what if she wants to replace Reg completely? Take control of the whole network, run the streets her way, and silence everyone who ever stood in her way. We've seen it before. People who start out with grief and end up with blood on their hands. And the way Alicia moves, it's like chess. She never wastes a move. Which means, by episode 10, someone we trust might be working for her without even knowing it. Now let's talk about Jake and Vic. Two men who finally cut ties with Reg, but cutting ties doesn't mean cutting clean. They've both been involved in Reg's business for years. They know his secrets, and more importantly, the people coming for Reg might come for them too, just to tie up loose ends. In episode 9, we saw Vic trying to hold on to Tiff, trying to keep his life together. But now, with her clearly leaning toward Nuck and Reg behind bars, Vic might just lose control. Again, and Jake. He's been quiet lately, watching, waiting, but don't forget, he's not a kid anymore. He's seen what loyalty costs. And if push comes to shove, Jake might become the one person no one expects dangerous, calculated, ready to fight for what matters, or to protect the ones he loves. And we can't ignore what Nuck is doing in all this. He's sliding in, not just into Tiff's life, but into a position of power. The moment he touches her belly in that trailer, that wasn't just affection. That was a message to Vic, to the whole block, that he's stepping up where others failed, that he's taking control of what Reg left behind. But Nuck isn't just a lover, he's a strategist. He knows how the streets work, and if Reg's empire is crumbling, you can bet Nuck is already planning to claim the throne. Episode 10 might be the beginning of a whole new chapter, where old alliances shatter and new kings rise. And in that chaos, Tiff, whether she means to or not, might be the one who decides who wins. But here's the thing. This story isn't just about the street. It's about family. It's about how pain ripples, how secrets destroy, and how sometimes the ones we trust the most are the ones who end us. Emmett's trying to be a good man, a good son, a good father, a good partner. But how can he do all that when the world around him is falling apart? How can he be strong for Jada when her time might be running out? How can he protect Kesha when danger lives in his past and his future? And how can he keep his soul clean when revenge feels like the only way out? Episode 10 is going to make him choose not just what kind of man he wants to be, but who he's willing to lose in the process. And the scariest part, he might not be strong enough to make the right choice. You can feel it now. Emmett's not just stressed, he's breaking. And the thing is, he doesn't even realize how deep the cracks go. Every piece of his life is demanding something from him all at once. Kesha wants a stable future. Jada needs emotional strength. His kids need a father who's present, focused, and Reg's damage might haunt Emmett forever. Because no matter how much distance Emmett tries to put between himself and that life, the streets keep pulling him back. And in episode 10, that pull could be fatal. When Reg was arrested, part of Emmett probably thought it was over. That maybe now he could breathe again. But that's the problem with relief, and the chit never lasts. That arrest, it's just a new kind of nightmare. Because Reg knows too much. And if he talks, if he turns state's witness or makes a deal to save himself, Emmett's name might come up. And if it does, his whole world could come crashing down. Don't think about it. Emmett didn't ask for this war, but he's still knee-deep in it. Whether he likes it or not, he's been connected to Reg's operation, to his decisions, to his crimes. He might not have pulled the trigger, but he knows where the bodies are buried. And in episode 10, we may see Emmett face something darker than any street fight public exposure. Shame, betrayal, because if Reg decides to save his own skin, Emmett could lose everything. His family, his freedom, even his chance at redemption. That's the storm building. That's the weight crushing his shoulders. He's trying to plan a wedding, support his mother through cancer, and fix his broken relationship with Keshial while wondering if the cops are about to knock on his door. But Emmett's not the only one in danger. Let's go back to Alicia. This woman is playing 3 sides of the board at once. She's using Zeke's message of peace as a shield while planning full-on street justice behind the scenes. We saw it in episode 9, her conversations, her silence, her alliances. Alicia isn't just angry, she's strategic. She's setting traps. And now, with Tucson in the mix, that trap might be ready to snap shut. Some fans think she'll manipulate Tucson into turning a blind eye. Others believe she's trying to use Tucson's badge to eliminate Reggie and his entire circle, legally. But here's the twist: what if Alicia already knows Reg is going down? What if she set the whole thing up? And episode 10 is just the final part of her plan. If that's true, Emmett's not the only one who should be worried. Jake, Vic, Keith, anyone with ties to Reg is at risk. Alicia wants to reset the streets, and that means scorched earth. No survivors, no mercy. Meanwhile, Kesha is stuck in a situation that keeps getting more dangerous. She wants to believe in Emmett. She wants to build a future. But every time she takes a step forward, something pulls them 2 steps back. And now, with the proposal hanging in the air and the possibility of Emmett being dragged into more legal drama, she has to decide if love is enough. That's what makes her such a powerful character. Her heart wants to say yes, but her mind knows better. And in episode 10, we might see her make the hardest choice yet: stay and fight for Emmett, or walk away to protect herself and their child. That's the emotional core of this episode, of trying to survive in a world built on betrayal. And then there's Jada. Her cancer returning didn't just break Emmett, it reminded the audience of how fragile life is in the Chi. Jada has always been the one holding it all together, even when Emmett didn't deserve it. And now, with her health declining, she's trying to give him everything she can before it's too late. That's why she gives him the ring. Not just because she wants to see him married, but because she wants to believe that he can still be the man she raised him to be. That even in the middle of all this chaos, he can still do something right. But what hurts is knowing she's probably aware of the danger he's in. She's not blind. She knows Emmett's tied to Reg, even if he denies it. And that's why Jada's scenes hit so hard, because every word she says might be one of her last. But don't sleep on the streets. Episode 10's title, The Block, is hot, isn't just a warning. It's a promise. Things are boiling. And when that pressure reaches its peak, someone's going to snap. Whether it's Hannibal going rogue, Keith turning on Reg, Alicia lighting the fuse, or Emmett losing control, there's no coming back. The system is rigged, the alliances are crumbling, and the people who were supposed to protect each other are now turning into threats. In the Chi, safety is an illusion. And episode 10, it's about to prove it. So the real question is, who will make it out? Who will fall? And how many lives will be lost before someone finally says enough? Everything is reaching its boiling point. And in episode 10, loyalty, something that once meant survival, might turn into a death sentence. For years, these characters have clung to each other, to the idea that being loyal would protect them. But now, loyalty is getting people killed. Let's start with Keith. He's always had Reg's back. No matter how reckless or dangerous Reg got, Keith followed. He kept his mouth shut, did the dirty work, and carried the weight. But this time, things feel different. In the episode 10 trailer, we see Keith involved in another robbery again, beside Reg. But with police sirens blaring and the heat closing in, the moment of truth is coming. Will Keith take the fall again? Or has he finally reached his breaking point? Because, let's be real, how many times can you bleed for someone who'd throw you under the bus the second it gets tough? If Keith flips, it won't just be revenge. It'll be justice from someone who's been betrayed too many times. And Reg, who's now behind bars, might not see it coming. He still thinks fear makes people loyal. But fear fades when survival takes over, when someone like Keith, who's seen the worst, who's been abandoned before, decides to fight back. That's when real damage happens. Episode 10 might be the episode where we see Reg finally pay, not just for what he did to others, but for what he did to the people who believed in him the most. But while Reg's world is crumbling, Alicia is building hers quietly, brutally. She's not swinging fists, she's moving chess pieces. We've seen this kind of power before in the Chi, but never like this. Alicia isn't just trying to destroy Reg, she's reshaping the streets, and now that she's speaking with Detective Tucson, there's no denying that something big is happening. Some viewers think Alicia is planning to have Reg taken out in custody, that she's done waiting on the courts or the cops, that she's going to make sure he doesn't even make it to trial. Others think she's trying to turn Tucson into a silent partner, someone who leaked just enough information to let Alicia pull the trigger without ever being caught. Either way, the people around her should be scared. Because once Reg is gone, Alicia's focus won't disappear, it'll shift. And the next names on her list could be anyone connected to him. That includes Keith, Jake, Vic, and yes, even Emmett. Alicia doesn't do half measures, and if Emmett's name shows up in any of Reg's files, or if he's seen as a potential threat to her New World Order, he could be next. That's the cold truth. In Alicia's world, loose ends get cut. And right now, Emmett is dangling. Meanwhile, the tension between Vic, Tiff, and Nuck is reaching a dangerous level. In the trailer, the way Vic looks at Tiff when Nuck touches her belly, that's not heartbreak, it's betrayal. Vic's tried to keep it together all season, tried to be the one man in this game who doesn't explode, who doesn't strike first. But episode 10 might be the episode where that all falls apart. Because Vic isn't just losing Tiff, he's losing his future. And when a man sees his whole life being handed to someone else, someone like Nucky doesn't just walk away. He acts. And Nucky knows exactly what he's doing. That move with Tiff, it wasn't love. It was dominance. A signal to Vic, to the block, to everyone that he's stepping in, that he's the new man in charge. And the thing is, he's dangerous. Maybe even more dangerous than Reg. Because Nook is smart, calculated, and unlike Reg, he hasn't burned all his bridges yet. He's been watching, waiting. And now, with Reg behind bars, the throne is empty. The streets need a new king and Nuck wants it. But power like that doesn't come without blood. And in episode 10, we may see the first moves of a new war, a quieter one. One fought not with bullets, but with betrayal. And in the middle of all this chaos is Emmett, just trying to breathe, trying to hold on to Kesha, trying to be the man his mother believes in. But how do you build a future when your past is chasing you at full speed? Episode 10 is going to force Emmett to make choices. Real ones, not just promises or emotional moments. Actual decisions with consequences. Does he stay with Kesha and risk dragging her into the fire? Or does he push her away to protect her, even if it means breaking both their hearts? Does he try to distance himself from Reg's world completely? Or does he double down and fight back before Alicia does? These aren't simple questions anymore. Because in the Chi, every move costs something. Every silence hides a secret. And every decision, no matter how small, can get someone killed. Episode 10 isn't just the season's turning point, it's the emotional reckoning where everything that's been boiling under the surface finally explodes. And once it does, no one will walk away clean. This is it. Everything has been leading to this moment. Episode 10 won't just be another explosive episode. It's the storm that's been building since the beginning of the season. Reg is arrested, Emmett is on the edge. And now, every secret, every betrayal, every wrong decision is coming home to roost. The Chi has always been about more than just survival, it's about the cost of survival. And now, that cost is higher than it's ever been. Let's talk about Emmett one last time. Because this man has been holding too much for too long. He's been trying to be everything to everyone, the partner Kesha deserves. The son Jada can lean on, the man his children can look up to, but underneath all that effort is exhaustion, guilt, fear, and in episode 10, we're going to see what happens when a man like Emmett finally breaks. He's surrounded by chaos, Reg's arrest, Jada's cancer, Alicia's silent war, and a relationship that's teetering on the edge. And the thing is, there's no escape left. Emmett can't hide behind promises anymore. He can't fix things with a ring or a soft apology. This time, he has to fight, not just for his family, but for who he is. Because if he doesn't make the right moves now, he could lose everything. Not just the people he loves, but himself. And then there's Jada. Her presence this season has reminded us all of what real strength looks like. Even as her body weakens, her will grows stronger, and she's watching Emmett closely, watching to see if he becomes the man she believes he can be or if he repeats the mistakes of his past. That ring she gave him, it wasn't just for Kesha. It was a test, a challenge, a reminder that love is worth fighting for, but it takes sacrifice. And if Jada's health continues to decline, if this truly is her final chapter, then episode 10 might be the last time we see Emmett as a son. After this, he becomes something else, a man who has to carry her strength forward. Meanwhile, Alicia is ready to strike. No more warnings, no more patience. In the trailer, her meeting with Tucson feels like a calm before the storm, a quiet exchange that hides a brutal plan. Because Alicia isn't just interested in Reg anymore. Her war is bigger, cleaner, more dangerous. She wants the streets back, but on her terms. And anyone who stands in the way, they're done. If Tucson plays along, we might see the legal system weaponized like never before. Arrests, raids, deals, betrayals. And if Tucson refuses to help, Alicia will find another way. She always does. The question is, how far will she go? Will she leave Emmett alone if she finds out his hands were dirty? Will she show mercy to Keith, or will she wipe out everyone tied to Reg's empire? And what about Nuck and Tiff? That one. Moma, his hand on her belly, Vic watching with fire in his eyes. It's about to set off a chain reaction. Tiff might not realize it, but she's become the symbol of a power struggle. 2 men, 2 futures, 1 child in the middle, and Nuck. He's not just playing for Tiff, he's playing for the whole block. If Vic steps up, tries to win her back or defend his pride, this could go from a love triangle to a full-out war. And in the Chi, when love turns violent, the fallout is never small. Then there's Keith, loyal Keith. For so long, he stood beside Reg, took hits for him, stayed quiet, but now he has a choice to make. In episode 10, Keith could be the wild card. If he snaps, if he turns against Reg, spills secrets, or flips alliances, it could tear everything apart or save Emmett's life. That's the thing about loyalty, it breaks when you need it most. And when it does, the pieces cut deep. So what should we expect from the final moments of episode 10? We expect shock, we expect betrayal. But more than anything, we expect truth. The kind of truth that can't be hidden anymore. Reg might face justice or escape again. Emmett might save his family or lose it forever. Alicia might rise to power or burn with her own vengeance. And someone we trust might not make it out alive. Because the Chi doesn't give you clean endings. It gives you choices. Painful ones, and the consequences of those choices ripple across every block, every family, every heart. So now we wait. And while we wait, we ask the questions that matter. Will Emmett rise, or will he fall? Will Kesha stay, or walk away for good? Will Reg go down alone, or take everyone with him? Will Alicia destroy the streets, or rule them? Let's talk about it in the comments below. Who do you think is in the most danger? Who will survive? And who's hiding a secret we haven't seen yet? Whatever happens, episode 10 is going to break us.